masses, evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning.
Whoa, I'm on screen. That kind of startled me. I saw my own face. It's frightening. Hey, welcome to Shaman Sundays. I'm your host, Brandon Cooper. Hello, Dina. Um, so I'm super Carol. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Super excited about this show, guys. Super excited. Brandy Marie, I know you're super excited about this show too, Miss. I'm gonna get in the coffin. We're gonna talk about that at the Paracon. Tabitha, hello. Katie, hi, sweetheart. Of course, you're going to be watching, Jeremy. Oh, I let the cat out of the bag, y'all. My guest tonight is going to be Jeremy Leonard, but we're going to get into that. But first, I got to light the sage. This is why my show is on Sundays. Kim Horn, hi. Because we're going to light the sage and we're going to get rid of all that negative energy that we're bringing into this new week from last week. You know, we're gonna cleanse. We're gonna put nothing but good energy out. Like I say a lot, it's about intention. And my intention for this show is to Scott, what's up, buddy? Is to put that positivity out there in the world. Because God knows we need more of it. Let's cover some sponsors real quick. I have a brand new sponsor. Mama T's Herbs. And I'll go ahead and say it. This is the only herbalist that will be endorsed by Shaman Sundays. I trust her. I know her. I love her. All of her stuff is top quality. How do I know, you ask? Great question. Because I've been there when she does it. We're also working on some smoking blends together because adequate smoking. And if you smoke, so do you. It's horrible. Unless you're a smoke eater like Jeremy, but that's different. So some of the things that she offers is wellness coaching. I don't know nothing about birthing no babies, but she does. Oh, check out her website. Go down to the banners. I've got her website at the top. It's www.mamatherbs.com. Right there. Check her out. You can order online. She is local here in South Carolina. I love her to death. I got a little bit of a respiratory thing going on. She found out and she was at my door the next morning with tinctures and herbs. I didn't even have to ask. And so she is an amazing person. Also, sponsor, we've got we've got Sacred Mountain Retreat Center. As always, Sacred Mountain Retreat is there for all of us veterans and first responders. I know first responders don't talk about PTSD and trauma very much because you're in public service and you think nobody wants to hear it. Well, we do, and we're here to help because that's sometimes you can go to a dark place in public service. So just remember, if you or somebody you know is a veteran or first responder suffering with PTSD or any type of trauma, because trauma is trauma, reach out, let us know, or go to their website. You can fill out the form. All expenses paid trip. We'll take care of you. I think that is all the housekeeping that I have. Do I need to catch up with any? Okay, I see Scott's here now. You know what? Let me just mention this real quick. I was out in Deadwood, South Dakota, a couple of days ago with Scott and Kim and KD and Katie Stafford and my wife. And we did a little investigating. I've got some data that we collected with the ink box that I'll show later, maybe during the show. But it was extremely great to meet them. And I just got to say, Scott, as much smack as I talk about you, you're a very, very pretty man. I'll admit it. You're a pretty fella. So now, I mean, I see you back here laughing, Godfather. He's a pretty man. He's a good looking biker boy. Anyway, so I'm gonna read this bio. Not that he really needs an introduction into the paranormal world. Hey, Greg. Um, Jeremy Leonard has been in the paranormal field for well over a decade. Has been a working demonologist for the past 10 years. Also known as the Cajun demonologist, he is the author of the book The Dwelling, a Dark Entity. Right there, guys. Right there. Mr. Leonard has been featured on TV shows such as recently the Netflix 28 Days Haunted with him and Brandy Marie, and we're going to get into some of that. A Haunting American Supernatural, Hunting Monsters with Chris Jericho, When Ghosts Attack, but he's best known for his role on Travel Channel's Ghosts of Morgan City. That was a great show. I think it's still I think you can still catch it on Discovery Plus. That's him, Ben Hansen, Sarah Lemos, and some guy named KD Stafford. We don't know who that guy is. Okay. Jeremy is the creator of the successful Cajun Demonologist podcast on Apple Podcasts and has appeared on numerous radio shows. He does teach an online course, which I want to bring up because I plan on taking this course on demonology and spiritual warfare. Mr. Leonard also owns Cajun Hut Jewelry, which specializes in protection bracelets. Now that that's been read, you know what? Let's bring up the man, the myth, the legend, Jeremy Leonard. Welcome to the show, Jeremy.
What's up, Brandon?
Man, just flying by the seat of my pants. You know how we do.
Look, I want to thank you for all that you do for first responders that suffer from PTSD. I mean, as a firefighter, man, look, we need more people out there like you. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for all you're doing.
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that, but it's a calling. I mean, I went through the darkness when I got back from Iraq, plus some of the stuff that I saw in public service, and I know what I went through, and I know I'm not the only one. So, if we can help just one person,
absolutely.
I've done it.
Yes.
It took us a little bit to get to where we are right here to get you on the show, but
yes,
here we are.
Finally, huh? I mean, what we tried like 2 or 3 times. Oh, and I have to say real quick, hey, Brandy. She knows what that means.
Uh-oh. Hopefully we'll find out.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about it.
Oh, yeah. I already know just a little bit. Oh, my wife, Anna Layton Cooper, has joined us.
Hello, Miss
Jeremy,
Anna.
let me put it out there. She is super, super excited about this show. And she's got like questions out for you. And like,
that's what I'm here for, right? I'm an open book. Brandy asked me many, did I say many questions in the 28 days I was locked down with her? So, hey, I'm used to it.
Are you saying Brandy likes to talk a lot? Because
yeah. So you see on the show and you see Brandy talking a lot. That is real life, folks. That's not television. That's not edited. That's not cut in any way, shape, or form. Love you, sis.
Oh yeah. See, and this is just gonna spill over. You know what? Let's get the Paracon out of the way. March 24th through the 26th, the Haunting at the Mill Paracon will feature Jeremy Leonard and Miss Chatty Cathy herself, Brandy Marie, going at it on stage. The Haunting of the Mill Paracon, March 24th through 26th. You can look us up on Facebook at The Haunting at the Mill. Tickets are on sale now. Tickets are going pretty quick. It's going to be the very first public investigation of this place. There is history that I just put up of the mill and the Native American lore and stories that have happened on this land. But it's going to be Jeremy Leonard and Brandy Marie going at it. Yeah, I mean,
I can't wait. I can't wait to spend time with Sis. You know, look, obviously being in the situation me and Brandy was in, being locked down for that amount of time, going through everything that we went through together. I mean, look, you form a special bond with another human being like me and Brandy has, and she will always be very dear to me.
oh yeah, she it's gonna be fun. I love the conversations that she and I have on the phone. We haven't met in person yet, but
Oh,
yeah,
well, you're in for a shock when you finally get to meet her in person. You think she
I,
likes
I,
talking a
I,
lot on the phone?
oh hey, you know what? I can't wait because I'll be like I'm kind of busy. I got to go over here now.
Right.
No, I wouldn't do that to you, Brandy. So looking forward to the meal. Can't wait. Yes, I know, sweetheart. I can't wait either. Oh, also to pick on Brandy one more again. This is her first Paracon,
Yes, it is.
so don't be gentle on her, y'all.
No. Come by my booth, which you hopefully we're kind of close together and not side by side. Come see me first, and I will tell you exactly what to do and what to say to her the second you meet her.
Yeah, I'd already planned on putting y'all kind of close, but I'm gonna put y'all side by side. That's gonna happen. I'm gonna have to do that.
Randy, you hear that, huh?
Oh yeah. See, this is gonna be great. Also, Jeremy, you're the first guest that I've had on that's going to be at the Paracon.
Oh,
So,
well, good. I feel
yeah,
privileged. Thank you.
You're setting the bar high, buddy, and I love it.
Oh, now you put pressure on me. Ask Brandy. I don't work well under pressure now. So
Well,
let's see what I can do.
I think we're gonna have a blast. Oh, well, let's just jump into it. Let's bring up your book because I'm gonna. Okay, can we see it? Yep, The Dwelling, A Dark Entity by Jeremy Leonard. Actually, we're gonna do a giveaway at the end of this live. If you will do hashtag book in the comments, hashtag book, the winner will receive. I will send you a copy of Jeremy's book.
Hey, come and see me at the Mills, and I'll even autograph it for you.
There you go. So don't forget hashtag book at the end of this. At the end of this live, we will give it away. So I love your book. It's a very easy read.
Yes,
but it's a heavy read when you start getting into it.
Yeah, well, I'm not an author, and I try to do the best that I could. You know, actually, the whole concept behind writing the book was, see, my daughter was very young at the time whenever these events took place, and I really wrote them as memoirs for her. You know, when she got older, to know what I went through, and I got convinced to publish the book. And you know, it's not even really something that I promote, and I probably should. But it's there. And I mean, I get people all the time send me messages saying that they read my book. And, you know, in a lot of ways, I'll tell you this, by me writing that book changed my life, because when I wrote that book, I decided to get out of the paranormal. I seen the dark side and I knew it wasn't fun. So I had actually got out of the paranormal. Well, about a week, no, it wasn't about a week. About a month after the book was published, I received a friend request from a priest. And at the time, I didn't even know priests could have Facebook, but they can. And you know, this priest basically told me that he read my book, and he was really stricken by the fact that I didn't make myself out to be a hero, and that spoke volumes to him. And he just wanted to reach out and let me know, because look, I done a lot of things then that could have got me, or especially those little girls, hurt, but I didn't know any better. My extent on the knowledge of demons was simply what I learned in Sunday school whenever I was a kid. So, you know, he told me he was a retired exorcist with the Roman Catholic Church. And of course, I had a million questions to ask, you know, and we formed a friendship. And, you know, that friendship just took off and ended up being like a father-son friendship. And he ended up training me. You know, I grew up. So my daddy was Catholic. My mama was Baptist. Whenever I was a kid, we went to a Catholic church, went through catechism and all that stuff. But then whenever I was about 13 or 14, I started going to the Baptist church where my mother was at, because my father, he just stopped going for whatever reason. So I consider myself to be Baptist. That's what I am today. But I was trained by a Roman Catholic priest. So even today, whenever I do my work, I do it, as a Catholic. I use holy water. I use extra virgin olive oil, and all of those things. I use crucifix and so on. And even the rituals that I write, a lot of times I write my own rituals, whether I'm doing a deliverance or an exorcism on a person or a home. I write my own, because whenever you're commanding a spirit, an entity to do something, you have to be very specific on what you are commanding it to do. And so when I feel that when I write my own, it's more personal than reading just something that just has a broad spectrum, if you will.
Right.
But in the very beginning, I did do that. I read rituals that was given to me, but over the time doing it, you learn different things. You learn what works, what's not, what has to be in it, what needs to be in it, what you have to command, and so on. So over a period of time, I've just kind of learned to incorporate everything that I've learned over a period of time, and now I do my own.
and I like what you said in there. You said deliverance and exorcism, and that just shows the Baptist side and the Catholic side right there.
Right. I mean, I don't like calling them an exorcism, because I have never used the Catholics' rite of exorcism. I've read it. I know it. I know it from front to back in my head, but I've never actually done it, simply because I respect the church. And in exorcism, that rite but it really truly, when you think of the rite of exorcism and you read it, it's a broad spectrum. It's like a blanket, if you will. It's kind of like a fix-all type ritual. Right. And by incorporating my own, and I will use parts and sections of it and different things to kind of mix it all in to create my own. It just makes it more personal, because for one, anytime you do something like that, and I explained this to Brandon when we were filming, you have to 100% truly believe in what you're doing, and the entity is going to try and distract you from doing that or second guess yourself, because whenever it does that, you completely unwind everything that you've done.
Right. And I have to deal with that some on my shamanic pathway that I do. Like, if you're not 100% behind and believe in what you're doing, you're going to get destroyed.
Yes.
So, I mean, I get it, and I commend you for actually even going down this path. Let's
well, let me just touch on that real fast. To be honest with you, people always ask me all the time, how did I get into it and why did I get into it? And I will tell you, I never once wanted to go down this path at all. I never once wanted to go down this path. Matter of fact, whenever I was first, when Father Joseph Padre first offered to train me, I turned him down. Okay. But something in him knew that was going to be my calling. So finally he taught me, he says, Jeremy, look, just because you learn this doesn't mean you actually have to go out in the field and practice it. Knowledge is power, my friend. And that's what I'm wanting to give you. I'm wanting to give you that knowledge, okay, so that you can use that if you ever need it. Well, after I got trained, I studied for, I want to say, about 3 years before I actually took on a case. And it's funny that once you take that first step, once you walk through that door can never be closed.
Yep.
Okay, no matter if I never take another case again, I will forever be hunted by the very entities that I battled throughout my career. And I accept that. But the problem is that once you take on that first case, it's amazing how your name keeps getting called by other people and other people and other people. I've tried several times in my life to walk away from it, Brandon. I really have. And, I finally learned to just accept it. It's part of it's not who I am, but it's what I do.
And I completely 100% get that statement. Let me say hello to Ricky. Hey, Ricky, congratulations on that retirement letter from the U.S. Army.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, he just got it. I think he's still going to try to hang on, but at least he knows that he's got it. So thank you, Ricky.
Thank you for your
service. Ricky and I met at the Sacred Mountain Retreat Center that I was telling you about. He came through. Awesome. He came through the same time I did, and we were actually roommates up there. So it's good to see Ricky jump in every now and then. Oh, so speaking of being in a dark place, do you mind if we talk about 2008, which is where you start your book out? You said that you were kind of in a dark funk there for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a dark funk because I went through a divorce with my first wife, and it really she done a lot of stuff to me that basically destroyed me. I can remember for 2 years, my mother knew she always said that the only way that she knew I was still alive, that I didn't do something horrible to myself, was she seen my truck was gone the following morning, means that I went to work. And it's funny how the paranormal kind of saved my life, because I remember just sitting there. I would come home and I would literally stare at the wall for hours, and everything here in your mind just plays. No matter how much you try to shut it off, it
Right.
never would. It never stopped. And I remember one day I just decided, you know what, I'm going to start getting in shape. So I started going to walking, and then I started going to the gym, and I ran across my cousin that I haven't seen in years, since high school, really. And he was big into the gym, and I work out with him and stuff, and we reconnected and everything, and we formed Paranormal Society of Ponchatoula. And look, to be honest with you, when I first got into paranormal, to say that I truly believed in the paranormal is kind of an understatement. I mean, I was a thrill junkie, to be honest with you. I mean, the thought of having a door possibly slamming in your face was kind of terrifying and cool all at the same time.
Right.
Until I was introduced to Joy Stinson, which is the case that the book is about, and she claimed that a demon followed her home and it was terrorizing her and her three daughters. Well, the thing was, she claimed that she went to the Myrtles plantation. This is where this happened. So if anyone's ever heard of the Myrtles plantation, is a very popular tourist destination, and thousands upon thousands of people go there every year. And you mean to tell me a demon followed you home and was terrorizing you and your three daughters? Okay. But
Right.
hey, look, we had a little local TV show at the time, and hey, if you let us film it and put it on TV, fine, we'll do it. And she agreed. I think she was desperate. Well, because we literally had a trailer full of equipment. I mean, we had, you name it, we had it back then. And so we decided to go talk to her and go get the feel of the house a couple of nights before. I think it was a Wednesday night. We were going to investigate on Thursday night. And I remember the first time I ever met Joy, she had Parkinson's disease, and she spoke really, really soft and slowly. And she weighed about 80 pounds soaking wet. She was a little bitty old thing, very frail. And I remember her sitting at her computer showing us a picture that she captured that was clearly nothing but dust. Okay. But she was convinced that it was a demon, and you could see fangs and everything in the teeth. Look, I'll still tell you to this day, it was nothing but dust.
Right.
Okay. But what happened was she became obsessed with this photograph. And obsession is a doorway, my friends. Most people have no idea. So being obsessed with the paranormal, that's kind of dangerous. That is an open doorway. Most people have no clue. But nevertheless, I remember her saying this, and I just kind of rolled my eyes, and I was like, I'm just going to grab a K2 meter and just go walking around this house and whatever. Well, I remember there's a hallway that goes straight through the old farmhouse. It's an old farmhouse, and where the newer part of the farmhouse is built, there's a hallway that goes straight through. So I remember going through this hallway, and she's talking her, and I come across her room. Well, I remember the things she said happened in that room, and I ain't going in there. Okay. I ain't that brave. So there's a bathroom straight to my left, and when you walk in, there's a double vanity sink and there's a mirror that covers the whole wall right there. Well, and there's a door that leads to the front. Well, as I walk in there, and I remember the K2 meter started going crazy. I mean, it was pegging out, it was going crazy, and it was just held there. And I'm looking down. So then I look up, and I'm looking in the mirror, and the doorway is directly behind me, and there's this thing standing there that's 7 foot tall, and I know that because his head came even with the door frame. But what was odd was his arms was twice as long as a normal person. They come past his kneecaps. His fingers was twice as long as a normal person's fingers. But when you got to the head, it was bald headed, and it had eyes. There was nothing else. There was no nose, no mouth, no ears, no nothing. See, I didn't know at that time that a demon cannot take the perfect form of a human being. They can mimic human beings very closely, but there's always something else. I did not know that at the time. I didn't even know what I was seeing was a demon. Okay.
Right.
And look, it scared the bejesus out of me. And I ran out of there, and I grabbed my cousin. I told him I needed to speak to him outside, and I explained to him what was going on. And I told him that this was beyond us. We need to get the hell out of there.
Yep.
And he's a very big guy, bodybuilder. And I remember his face turning gray because She was just describing to him what this thing looked like. And there's no way he could, that I could hear because I'm way further down the house and I'm half deaf anyway. Brandy will tell you that. So, we ran out of there and I was expecting to never return. And I got home but there's one thing that stuck in my mind, Brandon. There was an air mattress in the living room and they had crucifix all the way around. That's where they slept at night. And, being a father of a young daughter at that time, I said to myself, well, I'm not going back, but I'll do the right thing and try to get them help. So I went to a local Baptist church and I basically got shunned. The first thing the preacher told me was, son, you need to stay away from people like that. That's dangerous. Okay. That wasn't what I was expecting to hear at all. And then I decided to go to the Roman Catholic Church. And now, look, I want to make this clear. The Catholic Church never said that they wouldn't be able to help. They just said it's a long process. They can't just go in there and do an exorcism that day. It doesn't work that way. I knew that they didn't have that much time. So I remember going home, feeling defeated. And I said, it was like a voice kept going in my head saying, Jeremy, you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to learn this. And I knew nothing about the subject other than what I learned in Sunday school when I was a kid. But I would go to work, come home, and spend every waking moment reading and everything that I could about it. And then I spent the next 6 months with that family being a barrier between that entity and them until I was able to find someone to perform an exorcism on her. And that was a case where I witnessed my very first exorcism was there.
And in your book, you mentioned that I think I can't remember exactly what chapter it was, that where like a storm came over just that house.
Yeah. So yes, that was whenever I saw the entity. So whenever I brought my cousin outside to tell him that this was beyond us, we needed to leave. Look, there was not a cloud in the sky, perfect summer night. So we went back inside, no more than 5 minutes to politely tell her that an emergency came up. Okay. And that we had to leave. We go back outside. There is a black cloud. And I'm being 100% honest with you people. There is a black cloud over the house. The rest of the sky is clear. And I remember the wind was blowing so hard that it blew the garbage cans. I remember seeing the garbage cans blow across the yard. And we jumped in the car. Now, I was actually in my mama's car at the time, and it had power locks. And this is a long driveway going out to the blacktop. This is an old farmhouse. I remember the power locks kept going up and down until we got on the blacktop highway.
Yeah, no. Yep. Yeah, I'll tell you, it gives me goosebumps now that you're telling it, but it gave me goosebumps when I read it. That's I'll be honest, I'm surprised that you stayed into this kind of work, but I can also,
it wasn't my intentions at all.
Right. I can also see where it would drive you. I mean, I'm thinking about that little air mattress and the crucifixes everywhere, and probably these emaciated children with dark circles under their eyes. And
right.
I mean, what's a father to do?
Right. And not only that, think about this from a spiritual standpoint. Up until that time, we always question our faith. Is God real? Is demons real? All this stuff. And when you witness something like that, again, even though I didn't know at that moment that it was a demon, but I knew something wasn't right. Okay. Whatever this was, it wasn't nice. Well, later on, I learned exactly what it was. And, here's the thing. If demons are real, then guess what? So is God. So is good. So to me, that is what cemented my faith. And Brandy will tell you, my faith is very strong. And it's because when you witness something like that, there's not 1 ounce of there's no ounce of doubt whatsoever in your mind. So when you embrace that and take it for what it is, and you really learn about the heavens and the hell and demons versus angels and God and all of those things, it's like So you remember when you was a kid and you done a little dot to dot to draw a circle? All of
Yep.
these little dots just start to get connected and answers this question that you have, and then somewhere else you read something else and answers that question, and you're like, oh my God, this makes perfect sense.
Uh-huh.
And and then it becomes addicting almost. You want to learn as much as you can, and I'm a true student of demonology and spiritual warfare even to this day, and it's not that I'm arrogant about it, because believe me, I'm about the least arrogant person you'll ever meet, but knowledge is power. So I try to get as much as that I possibly can, even if I think is useless or pointless at that time. I never know when I may need to use that again. And I
Right.
also feel that if you ever get to the point that where you think you know everything, and this is for the paranormal field in general, if you ever get to where you think you know everything, it is time to step away, brother, because that is when you become dangerous. And that is
I
when you put
agree.
everyone around you in danger as well.
I agree with that statement 100%. Let's take a second. I saw a couple of questions. If you'll pull up that first starred question there, Godfather. Okay, Kathy says, question: if you light sage and it will not stay lit, is that because you don't need it, because a spirit will not let it burn, or just because it's wet? I'll let you take that one. I have my own theory, but I'd like to hear
Well,
yours.
you're going to have to answer that because Jeremy does not use sage. Don't
Okay.
use sage. I've never used sage. I use frankincense. So you would have to answer that question.
Well, there's many factors to that. It could be wrapped way too tightly. It's never going to not light because you don't need it. Sage is
Yeah, I would
always
agree with
something
that.
that you're gonna need. So it's just wrapped way too tight. So you take it, you smush it down, kind of like you're putting out a cigarette, and it'll spread it out. Or it's wet, but it should always light because it's something you're always gonna need. I hope that answers your question. And I saw one more star. Yep. Dina says, out of the demonology banishment studies I've done over the decades, Baptist and Pentecostal are very strong.
Yes, yes, they are, especially Pentecostals. Look, I'm going to tell you, I give Pentecostals their kudos. They by far are better exorcists or deliverers in deliverance ministries than the Catholic Church. I mean, look, look, one thing you know about me, I am very honest. Okay. I have seen, look, I get goosebumps thinking about it because yes, they are very, very good at what they do. I've actually worked with some ministries over the years.
And I guess I'll throw this little tidbit out there. I grew up and I still consider myself Southern Baptist. So and I've been to some of them holiness fire baptized Pentecostal churches too. And they're pretty powerful.
Well, the one thing that really saddens me is deliverance ministry, especially in Southern Baptist, is not where I think it should be. Be honest with you, I think every church should have deliverance ministries. It's almost like the Baptists want to believe in demons as a metaphor in a way. I don't know if it's because it scares them to put it in reality other than in biblical metaphor, so to speak. But
Right.
I mean, again, I say this: how can you believe in the higher power of God, not believe in demons and Satan? And not, I mean, the Bible clearly tells you they have the abilities to possess people. I mean, Jesus delivered many demons through his ministry. So I don't know if it's out of fear. I don't know what it is, but I truly believe that from the Baptist standpoint, that's something that's truly lacking.
I would agree because I never saw it in my first Baptist, second Baptist churches that I went to. It was always the Church of God back in the backwoods.
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of like me. Mine's called French Corner Baptist Church, so it's like at the end of the street that I live on.
Yep, there you go. Okay, Caddy says, don't forget to. Thank you. Thank you. I got some really good listeners and viewers.
I see that. You have quite a few here, and they're very active. I love it.
Southern Baptist, Baptist Costal. Yeah. Well, yeah, I can't argue with that one. I saw Greg Koss. I think you starred a Greg Koss comment there. If you can bring that back up, Dave. And then we'll get back onto the story. Greg Koss says, "Hey Jeremy, I met you last year at Janesville, Wisconsin. It was a great time, and I'm glad I met you."
Well, I'm glad I met you too. Look, so I'm gonna tell you this. I've met a lot of great people out there doing paracons, and that's one of the reasons why I really love doing them. It's not about putting myself out there to get noticed or anything like that. I love meeting the people, the fans, because I'm gonna tell you right now, if it wouldn't be for them, look, who would even know who Jeremy Leonard, the Cajun Demonologist is? So I'm very grateful to all you people, and I mean, look, y'all touch my heart. Y'all really do. I mean, look, we have some of the paranormal has some of the greatest fans out there, but they also got some of the worst. We're going to be honest, but they
It's
do
true.
have some of the best out there.
Yeah.
And I think that outshines. Look, that the positive always outshines the negative any day in my book.
And I completely agree. I mean, my viewers here are just par for the course. I mean, I have this one lady, Carol, and I can't end my show without her because she always puts "remember to smile" at the end. I just
Awesome.
it's that positivity. So let's kind of wrap up your book and let's talk about let's talk about kind of them coming out of it. I don't want to give away your whole book because you guys need to buy his book and read it. It's great. But, like the outcome, let's leave that on a positive note. How did that come about?
Well, needless to say, I was able to find somebody to perform an exorcism on her. And I'm not going to give it away of why she became possessed. Okay. I will say this. It had nothing to do with the Myrtles plantation. Okay. She had a dark secret that she kept that nobody knew. And it was so traumatizing to her that she erased it from her memory, basically. And I had to eventually drag it out. But once we knew what the source was, I was able to find someone to perform a deliverance or an exorcism on her, whichever one you prefer. And it was, look, here's an 80-pound woman that was able to lift me up off the ground, basically, because we were holding her down, and a voice was coming through her throat that was a male voice, and it was terrifying. But the good news is she was delivered that night, and she's been free ever since. Unfortunately, you would say that her life would be a fairy tale afterwards. It has not been. Since then, her and her husband has now divorced, but you know what? She's moved on with her life. Her and her kids are free. The oldest one had a little bit of trouble growing up because she was older when all these events happened, but the two youngest ones were really young, so they pretty much live a normal life, and they really don't have any memories of all of that happened. But I mean, everything landed on a great note. I talk to her all the time. I mean, me and her are close, and she will always be, considered part of my family. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great, yeah, that just shows you life goes on. It's not going to be a fairy tale, but
it's not. Life's going to be what you make it. And, that's the bottom line. Life is what you make it. It's what you want it to be, and the only thing is you want it to be, if you want your life to be certain or a certain way, you just have to truly believe. It's like anything else. Brandon, I tell you, it's called manifesting. Okay. You can manifest your life because let me tell you people this. Here's the secret. So what part of your existence would you say is purely spiritual? Your thoughts. Your thoughts are purely spiritual. Most people don't realize this, but I bet you are now. Every time you think your thoughts, you are visualizing everything that you were thinking and hearing from someone. So that is taking something from a pure spiritual state. By visualizing it, you are now manifesting it into the reality in which you live in.
Yep.
There you go.
Also, words. Use your words carefully because
right. So let's just use this for an example. You say, all right, let's just say I want to be successful. Want is a negative word. Okay. You have to be you're bringing up a great point. So this is how key you have to be when writing a ritual. This is what I mean by you have to be very precise. By saying I want is negative. You have to say I will have. Yes. That is a positive word. So it's that simple. You have to train yourself to think and visualize what you want. And you have to be very specific on what you are telling the higher power, the heavens, what you are wanting to tell them, what you are wanting in life. Because God wants to give you everything you want in life. Okay. But here's our problem. Our problem as human beings, we live in the flesh. So we only know voices and language. Everybody always says, well, Jeremy, I pray to God. God don't answer my prayer. You know why? Because you're praying with words. God doesn't hear words. God hears energy, vibrations, what you
Yep.
put out inside. You pray with feelings, not with words, with feelings. That's when he answers your prayers.
Well, like it says in the Bible, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God.
Yes.
So the words are very, 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 very powerful. Now that we put that out there, let's. I see Kimberly Horn has a couple questions for you. If you'll bring them up. Kimberly says, Jeremy, so you followed the family because you became close, or because you needed to watch her, or both?
No, it wasn't that I needed to watch her. I knew, look, anytime you ever witness anybody being delivered, okay? Trust me, when the expulsion happens, when they've been delivered. So it's just a bond. I mean, man, when you spend 6 months with a family in complete terror and fear, I mean, you form a bond with them. I mean, it's just kind of like the situation that me and Brandy were in. I mean, we were only there for 28 days, but it was a very hard 28 days, and a lot of things happened through that time. And when you experience something with that, you want to be part of their life because you really get to know that person. You want to be there for them. You want them to know that if they ever need you, you're only a phone call away. And to me, that's very important.
I have a kind of an example of that. It's like when I went through Marine Corps boot camp. I still keep in touch with some of those guys because we went through hell together and spent so much time together that it just makes a certain bond. So I completely understand, when you're doing all that with somebody, how it'll create a really good bond.
Yes.
Let's see. Greg Koss says, Jeremy, do you associate with other demonologists in the country?
Yes, actually I do. Again, there's no ego with me whatsoever. And, even if you don't agree with somebody's practices or what they do, anytime you're caught up on or you need help or advice from somebody or whatever, or they need advice from you, I've always make sure that I make myself there. So, yes, I do. And look, there's demonologists in this field that I have 100% respect for, and I'll just say Bishop Long is one of those. So yeah, I mean, absolutely.
So let's talk about some TV stuff. Let's talk about let's start at the beginning with Ghost of Morgan City.
Okay. I love filming Ghost of Morgan City. You know what? Not to say that, filming 28 Days Haunted was not fun. Okay. It wasn't fun for me. And I'm pretty sure, even though I'm speaking for Brandy, I don't think it was fun for her. Filming Ghost of Morgan City was fun. It was great. I mean, it was kind of like all the stars that aligned and everything was just great there. I mean, the interaction with the production crew and just the whole experience was great. And I'm really happy. At the end of the day, you shoot, but there's such thing as called editing, and you have no control over that.
Right.
And I'll give you a perfect example of 28 Days Haunted. At the very end, okay, I look into the camera and I give a real mean look. Okay. So how that comes about is the camera guy, he was a pretty cool fella, right? And I remember walking by and he just kind of was doing like this or something. And so I just gave him a dirty look. The editor saw that and they said, okay, what a great way to lead into season 2. I get that. Do I knock them for it? No, I don't. I get that. All right. So that's a great way to say, hey, stay tuned. There might be a season 2. But I have to say the company that we worked with in Ghost of Morgan City, which was the same production team we worked with on 28 Days Haunted, they are all professionals. They are great people to work with. And I mean, I can't say anything negative about them. Look, you hear this stuff all the time. All paranormal shows are scripted. They're fake, all of this stuff. And I will tell you this, and I'm being 100% honest with you. I have never, ever, ever been asked to fake anything filming a TV show. Okay. And I've heard people say, well, they get all this evidence and stuff on a 1 hour show. Yeah. But you see, again, here's the power of editing. What you don't
Yep.
know is we might have spent 2 entire nights in that house to get that 5 minutes of awesome evidence. Okay. So people need to just stop trying to think they know everything and understand what's going on and just take something and try and find something positive out of it. I mean, is it too much
Yes.
to ask? You know?
Well, I mean, it may very well be for some people. So let's talking about Coastal Market City. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that would be the full body apparition.
Oh, so the full body apparition is it is the greatest on camera, off camera, my own private investigation. It is the most awesomest thing I have ever been able to witness or be part of, and it probably will be from this point forward. So most people, and the crazy thing about it, most paranormal investigators spend their entire career or life trying to capture something like that. And here we are on a television show that has time restraints, captured something like that on television. It is absolutely phenomenal. Now, here's the catcher. This is what blows my mind. You would think that would have been blowed up the paranormal world, right? But it didn't. It didn't. You know why? Because it's real and it's genuine. That's why. I mean, I see some other stuff that blew up, that's way more questionable than what we captured. I mean, it's right there in your face. And if anybody knows Ben Hansen is an ex-FBI agent. And the man is skeptical by nature, and he tried to debunk that any way he possibly can. And guess what? Still to this day, he's never been able to do it.
And what gets me is all the haters came out and said, oh, it's a hologram. Or, oh, it was planted.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. If that's a hologram and it was planted, I deserve an Emmy Award because for our reactions, give me my award. I am way overdue, Jack. That's all I got to say about that.
Exactly.
You can't fake that. I mean, come on.
No. But I definitely wanted to bring that up because I read some of the reviews and I'm like, come on, people. Really?
Look, people are going to try to find a reason to ditch something or dislike, and that is the world we live in today. And everybody talks about, especially I've seen a lot of stuff on Facebook right now about bullying, in the paranormal field. And I'm just going to be straight up honest with everyone. Yes, I know I've been on television, but I will tell you this, the work that I do behind the scenes is what's important to me. Okay. Until everyone stops trying to be famous in this field, it's always going to be like that. People need to get back to the roots of helping other people.
Yes.
That is when you're going to see it change. You can't fight fire with gasoline. You have to put water on it.
Let's see. I see Carol. We have a couple questions. Let's jump on to some questions there, Dave. Carol says, is there something you would tell someone to protect themselves against any dark beings from coming into their lives?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that. So, Carol, let me just put it to you this way. A demon, whether you realize this or not, demons have to be invited into your life. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. Vampires, right? They can't just enter your home. They have to be invited in.
Right.
Jesus himself, you have to accept him into your life, right? You have to invite him into your life. So the same thing happens for demons. Let me explain this to you. And this is something in the paranormal field that a lot of people put themselves in very sticky situations. Anytime you get personal with a spirit, you are opening yourself up and inviting them in. Okay. Now, remember, there is no rule out there that says spirits have to be honest with you. Okay. And I'm just going to use doing EVP sessions or spirit box sessions in your home, which to me is absolutely absurd. I don't understand why anybody would do it, because your home is your sanctuary, your place that you feel safe. Well, when you do this in your home, you are going to be more prone to asking personal questions to the spirit or entity about yourself that is going to give it a legal right, which is why it's called RITE, which is a spiritual right of exorcism, because a demon has to have a legal right to somebody. So anytime you do that, you are putting yourself in danger. A Ouija board is nothing but an object. It's nothing but a piece of cardboard and a piece of wood or plastic. It's your intent on how you use it that makes it dangerous. Now, about protecting yourself. This is how I do it. First, you have to learn to walk in the spirit as well as in the flesh. Okay. So, how do I do it? I call it wearing the armor of God. A football player, right? He dresses for the occasion. He puts on his shoulder pads, his helmet, and all of that, right? So, anytime you want to protect yourself, you need to do the same thing. Again, visualization is power, truly believing in what you're doing. So, what I do before I go and confront something, I get in a place by myself quiet and I visualize myself putting on armor. Okay. That's called the armor of God. All right. And then I put it on. So your subconscious mind is like a tape recorder. It remembers everything. All right. So now I took in time to protect myself in the spirit realm, but I still need to protect myself in the flesh. All right. In the terrestrial world. Why? Because spirits are entities, they enter their spirit, but they can interfere into and interact in the terrestrial world, which is the physical world we live in, right? So that's whenever you see me, I wear a red cross. Anything you ever see me on any show, I'm wearing a red cross. All right. That is my protection, along with bracelets. Brandy has a bracelet of mine that we used during filming of 28 Days Haunted. And I explained this to her. That every time you see this, whether you're consciously thinking that that's your protection or not, your subconscious mind knows what it is. A bracelet, I like to hold it out there so you can see it, right? That represents my protection in this reality, okay?
Mhm.
The spiritual realm is what I've done in spirit by putting on the armor. I hope that answers your question.
It did. And I just saw a comment that my wife put, and this is something I want to ask you about. My wife, Anna, said, have had a year-long crisis of faith. So for that reason, I have avoided this arena of paranormal investigating. Religious trauma is a pain. And I'm going to follow it up with, I know this is a question that she would want to ask you. So somebody who has had such religious trauma,
Mhm.
and it's hard for them to get around, what is your best advice? How would you protect yourself and while you're still going through your crisis of faith?
So it's simple. Let me ask you this: this religious trauma that you went through in your life, that was caused by man-made religion. Okay, that's what that is. Let me explain to you what true religion is: having a personal relationship with God. That means talking to Him in your mind, praying to Him. All right, when you need something, going to Him, asking Him for help. You do not have to go to a church in order to have a relationship with God. The church is here in the heart.
Yep.
A church is nothing more than a place for other people of your belief to go and worship together, because worshiping in many is more powerful than worshiping in one. And this is a practice that the occult uses. It's called the power of many is more powerful than the power of one. So understand that whatever religious trauma you've gone through, that is caused by man-made. Look, man has a way of corrupting everything. Okay. This is 100% honest. We have a way of corrupting everything. The only thing God wants from you, the only thing Jesus wants from you is a relationship with you. And that happens here and here. Spiritual warfare happens here and here. Your spirit happens here and in here. It goes by our heart. So all of them are intertwined. So whatever trauma you're going through, look, and here's another thing that is very important to realize. Energy feeds off of itself and it draws in more of its own. So if we're holding negative energy inside, which human beings have a tendency of doing, okay, that is negative energy. It's going to feed or attract more negative energy into your life. Okay. All right. So it's going to continue to expand and build inside you until the human body can no longer sustain it. Then it's going to continue to go out into the atmosphere of the home where you live. Now, not only is it affecting you now, it's affecting your family and everyone that lives under your roof. And it's going to continue to grow until that energy becomes self-aware. I call this self-manifesting. Okay. You give this thing life. This is not a demon. This is not an earthbound spirit. You give this thing life by the trauma that you are going through on your subconscious mind, because it's always playing in the background. And it's very important that I say you have to forgive those who have done you wrong, not for the sake of forgiving them, but for you, because you cannot live for today if you are living for yesterday. You can't do it. You have to live for today in order to live for tomorrow. You can't live in the past. You have to let it go. You have to know your worth and who you are, and know that, you know what? If I put positive energy in my life, more is going to come. All right. Then I can have that relationship with the Father, because now things are starting to work out in my life because I am letting go of my past. I hope that answers it.
Yeah, man, thank you.
Brandy said, Amen. Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
And I have to throw this out there. So I've been doing this show a little bit over a year now, and my daughter has never watched a single episode as far
No,
as
I don't
know.
feel bad. Mine don't either.
But there she is, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, what?
She has tuned in to the Jeremy Leonard show.
I feel special now. I really
Man,
do.
you should be.
I hope I'm living up to your curiosity or whatever you decided to click on. But
hey. I'm loving it. Oh, so since we're on the subject, by the way, thank you. I know Anna needed to hear that. I've been trying to say something similar, but nobody.
Hey, if she ever needs anybody to talk to, I'm always here. That's what I do. Well,
and I hope you heard that. And I have your number, I think.
Tell her whenever at the convention, hey, come and see me. Sit down. Let's talk.
Yep. Yep. She put up the little heart. So since we're still on Ghost of Morgan City, I have a picture of you. Talk about a mean face. If you can bring up that picture there.
Oh boy.
Look at that fella. Look at that guy.
I look like a gorilla wearing a helmet.
Yeah, well, yeah. And so that is the ghost helmet built
AKA the God helmet.
The God helmet built by KD Stafford, Supernatural Inc. So I'm going to set this up, and then I'm going to let you run with it. I heard some behind-the-scenes stuff that, like, when they fired it up the first time, all the dogs within, like, a 5-mile radius started barking and stuff.
Yeah.
Can you give us some behind-the-scenes and then and talk about it?
So, all right, so we're going to start with Ghost of Morgan City. Whenever I put it on, so in the show, it looks like the second I put it on, things just started happening. Again, that's the power of editing. It probably took 10, 15 minutes. Nothing was happening. But then, so I don't know if you've ever heard of MAK Ultra. So this was an experiment that the government used in the 60s and 70s to help psychics be able to go to different locations and be able to help us find out what's going on, whether they astro projector or whatever the case may be. So that's kind of based off of the same technology. So there's two magnets pushing against your brain, and then there's lights that flash in your eye and tones that go in your ears, and it's all in sync together. So in the very beginning, you start to see, now when you talk about the mind's eye, most people, it's not like an actual visual sight that you see, it's in the mind's eye. This is different. This was an actual visual sight that you see in the flash. Okay, so you see this in the flash, which makes it look like if you take a deck of cards or you draw something and you thumb them and you stroll them down and you see them moving like this, that's kind of what it looked like in the beginning. And then, I was seeing an old horse carriage there, and there was like bags in the back of this horse carriage, and there was like these holes dug, and there was a man standing there with his back toward me, and it ended up being the preacher. And see, at this point, we didn't know whether he was really evil or not, to be honest with you. And to be honest with you, I was kind of going to the latter, thinking that maybe he was evil. And it really took me by surprise because he turned around and he acknowledged me. And it was like the instant he turned around, I felt everything that he felt. The love for his children. Look, so for people that's never watched Ghost of Morgan City, I don't want to give away too much, but there was a yellow fever pandemic, okay? And he had a calling. He was a minister. He had a calling to read the last rites to the dying victims. And back then, when you got yellow fever, they put you in a pen, basically, away from the population, and you pretty much waited to die, okay? He had a calling. Okay, he done his job, even though he couldn't see his kids. All right, he couldn't be there to say goodbye to them. So he felt a lot of sorrow for that. And that's what I experienced. So they were wronged. And I think that ended up being the entire theme of Ghost of Morgan City. All these spirits that were coming through, they were wronged in some way, shape, or form. But up until that moment, we did not know.
Right.
All right. But we were wronged. And I felt all the pain, all the sorrow, everything. I mean, I cried on national television. And matter of fact, I've done that twice now. Come think about it.
Well, we'll get there.
And I was scared to death of what people were going to say about that. But it was real. Okay. It was in the moment. I felt the love that he still had for God and I felt the love that he had for his children. And I think that the main message that he wanted to everybody to know was remember them. And that was very powerful to me. Remember them. So yeah, it was a great experience. But then it kind of got like all the spirits that was around in the vision. I could see them. They wasn't ghosts. They were people. But it's like they noticed me and they all started coming toward me. And that's whenever I told them to pull it off. Now, what you didn't see was they were monitoring me very carefully. They would check my blood pressure. I had a pulse ox on. They were medically checking me throughout this process because it's never been done before. And I think the reason why I decided to do it was because the way that I investigate, I'm more of a spiritual investigator. And that's one thing me and Brandy has in common. Ben is more of a tech kind of person, and Sarah was a medium. And I truly believe that if a medium puts a helmet on, that's very, very dangerous for them. Okay.
Yep.
So, I felt that I was the only candidate that was doing it. And, I decided to do it. It was a great experience, great experience. And that was whenever 28 Days Haunted come about, that was one piece of equipment I made sure that I wanted to have in my arsenal. Well, things didn't turn out quite as lovely as I would expect with 28 Days Haunted with it. But, I've wore that helmet twice and, I think KD should give me that helmet. Don't you guys think that KD should donate me that helmet, so I could put that in my office and say, you know what, Jeremy, you were the first to ever wear that.
Right. I think so.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to talk to I'll have to talk to Katie. And
because
she's the one to talk to if you want to get stuff done.
That's right. So we're going to take about a 5-minute little break here. I hope you're good to come back so we can finish the discussion. Before we go to break, don't forget #book in the comments so you can get a copy of Jeremy Leonard's book. I don't know where my camera is. There it is.
There it is.
There we go. And if you can't make it to the Paracon and you want this book autographed, I will get it autographed for you and have it sent.
Hey, there you go.
Dave, if you'll just take us to commercial, and we'll be back in 5 minutes with Jeremy Leonard. You caught me looking at my phone. Ah, dang it. Hey guys, welcome back to the second half of Shaman Sundays. As usual, I am your host, Brandon Cooper. Got to introduce you to the latest cast member. Look at this guy. It's my cousin. Kimberly Horn made that for me. And so his name is Shanome for the shamanic gnome. Shanome the Traveler. And he will have his own Facebook page. He's already gone to a couple of cool historic sites. And this year he will be traveling the U.S. with me to some various historic and haunted locations, along with Supernatural Inc., Horn Paranormal, and whoever else we run into. So keep an eye out. You know what? Let's just keep this train wreck going with Jeremy Leonard. I'm loving it. Thank you so much again for taking time out. I know you're at work.
Yeah, no problem.
So let's fast forward to 28 Days Haunted. I know you said how much you enjoyed filming and how relaxing and that was. Oh,
Right.
What is it like out to a place for 28 days, and on top of that, having the knowledge that you're actually performing Ed and Lorraine Warren, something that they wanted to do while they were alive?
Well, it's definitely not what I thought it was going to be. It's very, very hard. I mean, people don't understand. So they literally take your cell phone from you. There's no internet. There's no television. There's no radio. There's no nothing. You just have nothing more than your thoughts in that location. And when we first got there, Brandy being a psychic, she was able to pick up on things a lot faster than I would. So like immediately she would hear voices because we were originally sleeping upstairs. And she would hear voices at night, and she couldn't hear it. And I ain't hearing nothing. I'm like, man, this girl over here, she has a nickname,
Right.
Chicken Little. I mean, Chicken Little's her nickname, by the way. But I mean, look, she was telling me she's hearing all this, and I'm like, Randy, I'm not hearing nothing. But anyway, she was bound to determine we were not staying up there anymore, that we were going to be sleeping downstairs because she felt safe downstairs. But I will tell you this, probably about day 18. Sure enough, she was correct. You start hearing voices. You could distinguish between a male. You could tell it's a male and a female talking, but you can't make out what they're saying. You hear music, you hear fire trucks, you hear all kinds of stuff. All right. So, that's the longer you stay, it goes to show you that the longer you stay in a location like that, the more it wraps you in and it uses itself against you. Okay. And not only to think about that, but think about the haunted side, think about the psychological side of what we were going through. We had nobody but ourselves for 28 days. You want to know what we did to pass the time? We played, I can't even tell you how many rounds of rummy we played. And Brandy always seemed to win for some reason. And I've never quite figured that out, but I know she had to be cheating some kind of way. And we played Twister. Okay. The game Twister? Yeah. We would play Twister, okay, to take our minds away from everything that was going on in that home so that we can have a little bit of peace and tranquility. Okay. That is how bad it got. Now, toward the end, I would say there's probably about day 20. Brandy Murray would refuse. We could only investigate for about 30 minutes. That's how bold this thing got. And something would happen, and Brandy would refuse to go back into that place until the sun came out. So all those times when you see us sitting outside and I'm like, and all of that, it's not because I was ignoring Brandy, which I got accused of by a lot of people. It's not that I was being mean to Brandy. Okay. I was mentally and emotionally drained, not to think about what was happening to me at that time. And we'll get to that in a second. But I'm just trying to have you all understand and get a feel for what it was like. It was complete hell. There was nobody else. And look, this thing was very bold. Okay. Very, very bold. I mean, ask Brandy, we would be downstairs and this thing would be upstairs just stomping like as loud as it could, because again, it's feeding off of fear and all of that kind of stuff. So that is what it was. It was absolutely terrible, not to mention our living conditions. So the other two teams, oh, they had it made, bro. They was in a hotel where Shane Pittman had a jacuzzi in his bedroom. We didn't have a bedroom. We didn't have a stove. Okay, we basically lived off of pizza rolls and ham and cheese sandwiches and pop. Is what Brandy calls it, pop.
Yeah.
For 28 days. Okay. When we had a shower, now we had a makeshift shower that the production team built for us. It had about a 5-gallon hot water tank. So after about 3 minutes of showering, it was literally a cold shower. It was not fun at all.
That definitely does not sound fun. Brandy had a question. You want to bring up Brandy's?
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what Brandy's question is.
Yeah, there you go, right there.
So, Jeremy and Leonard, what was your favorite moment and your most funniest moment of 28 Days Haunted? So, me and Brandy were sitting there sleeping. Well, look, Brandy wouldn't let me sleep, okay? So, if I try to go to sleep, I hear her say, Jeremy, wake up, Jeremy. So, me and Brandy sitting there minding our own business. And there is the stairs is beside me on my left-hand side. Brandy's to the right of me. We're sitting there talking, and all of a sudden, I see this thing. I look up, and there's this black mass shadow standing at the stairs and looking over at us. Uh-oh. Dude, I jumped up, and I started running so fast, and I had socks on, so I'm running in one spot, sliding across the floor. Yeah, that was crazy. And look, I remember the rest of that night, Brandy, tell me if I'm wrong. The rest of that night, we sat there with a rocking chair at the foot of that stairs, and we sat there all night long waiting and looking for movement. It was crazy.
No, thank you. Oh, yeah, I'm waiting on. Let's see. We got her laughing. Oh my God, it was bad from Brandy. So yeah. Okay, let's see here. What Brandy says, oh my God, we did. Yep.
Yeah, we did. I mean, that was about the time when I think that everything started going south was probably that moment. Look, so I've learned one thing about being being a demonologist, think about this. I spend very little time in a location. So I have complete control and authority. Okay. I shield myself. But when you are in a situation like that, you can't leave that environment, right? To free yourself of that dark energy. Right. I don't care how knowledgeable you are, how well prepared you are. It is going to beat you down.
What about
Brandy? And that's what it did.
What about her jumping into your lap?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. So there's a great moment, a picture of this somewhere, and I'm sure that you guys can find it somewhere. If not, I got it on my phone. Come see me at the event over here, and I'll be glad to show it to you. We're upstairs investigating, and there was a noise or something that happened on the wall where Brandy was, and the next thing I know, she's sitting in my lap, Jack. She is in my lap. She didn't care. There was no cameras around her. She jumped in my lap. And I got a shot of that moment. She's like, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'll never let her. I will bribe her with that photo for the rest of my life. But see, here's the thing. Do you want to kind of just go into the more darker side yet, or we still want to kind of tread on the lighter side?
Well, I say let's take it dark, and then we can bring it back out positive, because what I was going to ask, and a lot of people don't realize, is that you had a serious health scare during filming.
I did. I actually had a heart attack. So when you see me wearing the the ghost helmet, aka God helmet, on the show, I think it's episode 5 or episode 4. It's one of the two. When you see me wearing the ghost helmet, and that right there, when you see me wearing that in the show, I was upstairs and the entity made itself known to me. And I figured that if I would just turn my back to evil and not acknowledge it, I wouldn't give it any power whatsoever over me. It would have no dominion over me whatsoever. So that's what I done. I turned where it was behind me, and I'm sitting there. But you got to remember, this helmet has opened up all my senses, so it was able to attack me here. And I pulled it off because it was like I could feel my heart start just like beating really, really hard out of my chest. I come downstairs. And Brandy asked me if I'm okay. I'm like, no, feel my chest. I get her to feel my chest. I'm sweating. She said I was cold. So they called the team, the producers. They came. They took me to the hospital. Now, I've had people tell me that was a fake hospital, that I didn't go to the hospital, that was all for show. Trust me when I tell you that was 100% real. Okay. I now have 6 stents in my heart. Okay. And I'm on all kinds of medication you wouldn't believe. But anyway, I went to the hospital and they done an EKG, and that shows where I possibly had a heart attack. Now at that time, I remember a conversation coming home when they brought me home. The producers were very skeptical of me coming back onto the show. They wasn't sure if it was a good idea for me to come back on the show because of that. And I could understand where they were coming from, but I plead with them that I had to face this entity, because if not, it was going to follow me home and it was going to destroy my life. I've been doing this long enough to know that, because the oppression already started, because I gave it I invited it in, and we'll get to how I did that in a minute, but I done it with my own free will. So it had a legal right at that point. Okay. But here's the key. As bad as the heart attack was, it was a blessing in disguise, because I was away from that location long enough to free myself and be able to think on my own without being influenced and manipulated. That's very, very, very important to understand. Now, when I come back, Brandy asks me, what happened? And I tell her some things are better off unspoken. All right. That's one of the reasons why. There was another reason, but I'm not going to get into that. But that was one of the reasons why. And we decided that night, Brandy, I think when we were laying there, that you told me that we talked about me confronting it. And she agreed, because look, Brandy was my partner. I had to have her on my side. Okay.
Right.
I had to make sure she was backing me. Now, I knew I was going to have to do this, but what people don't understand is I was terrified, Brandon. I've never been so terrified in my life. Now, look, I performed 8 full-on exorcisms on people throughout my career. I can't even tell you how many deliverances I've done on homes. I've been bitten. I've been scratched. I've been punched in the face. I had washing machines thrown at me. I've never been as scared as I was then, because all the other times I knew I had the authority. Okay.
Right.
All right. And which, if you watch in the very beginning of the show, I had that authority, but Brandy kept getting attacked. Okay. So when Brandy kept getting attacked, because it couldn't get to me. So naturally, whenever I would do spiritual warfare prayers or anything, its goal is to make me stop. But it couldn't get to me because I was focused. I was zoned in. So it would attack Brandy. And then Brandy got to the point to where Brandy said, Jeremy, I'm going to have to leave if you continue to do this. It's not that she was being mean or she didn't believe in what I was doing. Is she was the target. Okay.
Yep.
Now, so I agreed that I wouldn't do any more spiritual warfare prayers. But by me agreeing with that, Brandon, I knew that I would become the target now. So I'm laying down my spiritual sword, so to speak. Okay. Think of it that way. I'm making myself vulnerable. Now, instead of going and attack her to get to me, why not go to the source? But here's the key. I thought I would be able to recognize the signs of oppression, know what was going on, and be able to stop it. But I did not take in consideration that being locked in that location, I can't free myself from that energy. It's going to wear me down, and eventually oppression is going to occur, which is what happened. I knew I was being oppressed, but in the beginning, I didn't want to come to terms with it until Brandy sat me down and told me about the note that was found in Charlie Lawson's pocket. That's when it became real to me, because I was writing that down. Okay. So that told me right there, Jeremy, you need to quit fooling yourself. You're in trouble, buddy. You are in trouble. Okay. So my intentions was that night, whenever I had the heart attack, I was going to confront the entity. But I found out real quick that wearing the helmet was not the time to do that.
Right.
Okay. So then the heart attack happened. But then I knew I had to do it. But we agreed. But what the show does not show is how scared I was to do it. There's one little clip where you see me reading the Bible. I asked Brandy that whole entire day I read, just sat there and read my Bible, verses, memorizing stuff that I may have to use, just putting together everything in my mind, organizing it so that when I needed it, I can do it. All right. I was scared. But you see, here's the key moment that got me in trouble when I invited the entity in is when Brandy got attacked. And I grabbed her and I said, if you want to get to her, you got to go through me. I challenged it. That is something I should have never, ever done. But I felt, look, Brandy is very innocent in this. I knew what we were getting into. I'm the man. I'm the demonologist. I knew what we were getting to. Brandy did not. So I felt as a firefighter, as a husband, as a man, my job is to protect her. My job is to take the blow so that she does not have to do it. And I was willing to do that.
Right.
But simply by me saying, if you want to get her, you got to come through me. That was a challenge. That was me inviting it head on, which is something you should never do. I tell everybody, you should never, ever, ever, ever do that. But it worked because it took the focus off of her onto me. But I almost become fully possessed in the process. If it wouldn't have been for the heart attack, if it wouldn't have been for me getting away from there for the 12 to 13 hours that I did, possession would have happened. And who was coming to save me? Absolutely nobody. Brandy couldn't do it. The producers couldn't have done it. Nobody would have been able to come and save me.
Right.
I would have went home. I would have destroyed my family. I would have destroyed my job. I would have destroyed everything that I've ever worked my entire life for. So, look, it is real. I tell people all the time, what you see on that show is 100% real. Like it or not, believe it or not, I don't care. But it was 100% real. And that was one triumph moment of my life when I was confronting that entity and that vase flew off of that wall. And I'm going to tell you why. Anytime you challenge a demon, anytime you do that, there's what you call the last demonic push. That is when the entity is going to lash out at you. By that vase flying off the wall means that I got authority back. I took back control. Now, I still respected this thing, which is immediately why I stopped, grabbed my shirt that I threw off for, I have no idea why I did that, to be honest with you. It was in the moment. Okay.
Right.
And I went downstairs. And me and Brandy sat there and we talked. I asked her, I was shaking. Okay. But here's the lesson to be learned in all of that. And I did not realize it until I actually watched the show. No matter how scared you are to face your fears, when you do, you will emerge victorious when you face your fears. Do not let your fears stop you. Do not let your fears terrorize you from being everything that you can be. You face your fears because when you do, you will be victorious. And that's what I did in that moment. Did I know going into that moment that is what I was going to do? No, I didn't. Okay. I did not realize that until watching the show of how when all I felt was fear at that moment.
I could just feel the intensity. And for those of you, and I'm sure none of my viewers are, but for the haters out there who had things to say about 28 Days Haunted, you can see it in his eyes. You can see the emotion. This is real, people. This is
and it's just like Brandy says right here, with the shirt, we were at the point where we just had enough. We were being attacked and more. She's absolutely right, guys. Y'all just don't understand how bold, and I guess I'm using the right words. And really, words can't describe it. How bold this thing was, and the longer we stayed there, the more bolder it got. And I mean, look, this thing was making such loud stomping noise upstairs with us downstairs to where it's unmistakable, absolutely unmistakable. All right, and Brandy will tell you there's only one way in that building, and that's through that front door. and we're downstairs, so we know there ain't nobody sneaking up stores and rattling chains and stuff. All right.
Right.
Believe me, we tried to figure out what it was, because one thing me and Brandy always said, we were not exaggerating anything. Everything you see there was legit, and it was all in the moment. And we done our due diligence to try to debunk everything that we possibly could. All right. And I could sleep good at night knowing we did that. And I know Brandy can as well. But it was complete terror. I mean, not even just the haunting itself, but the psychological side of it. Brandy's dealing with me, being oppressed. So she don't know if I'm going to stab her in her sleep. All right. So think of the fear of that right there. And look, when I confronted that entity, Brandy is tell you, and she just said it in the post, she heard her mom in a voice say, Brandy, get out. And whenever you see me bend over and I say, Brandy, get out, that was like 2 seconds after she heard the voice of her mother saying, get out. And that was it for her. She was out of there.
That's intense. Let's see. Scott says just so much that didn't make it on TV. Over 600 hours of footage condensed into 6 hours.
There was a lot of stuff that that we did that didn't make it on the show. And I'll tell you guys one experiment that we did that was absolutely wonderful, and they did not put it in there. We used a Jacob's ladder that KD had built for us. Now, this wasn't a baby's toy, all right? This was a manly thing.
Yeah.
And then we had a fog machine, and we blew the fog through the Jacob's ladder to charge the fog, because it's easier for spirits to manifest themselves that way. And we captured almost every single member in the Lawson family through that fog, okay? Unmistakable. We captured them, and they didn't show it. It was absolutely beautiful, and they didn't even show it. The coffin scene. Now, look, I got a lot of flack for this.
Yeah, I was going to add that. Yeah.
I cannot tell you how much hate I have got from people saying, how dare you put Brandy in the coffin? That was so inconsiderate of you. Hold on. Slow your roll there, big dude. First of all, yes, I asked Brandy if she would go in the box. I didn't demand or force Brandy to go into the box, okay? Right. Brandy agreed to go into the box. I would never ask Brandy to do anything that she did not feel comfortable doing. All right. And if she disagrees with you, you can ask her yourself and she'll tell you. All right. Brandy agreed to go in the box. Number 2, Brandy had complete faith that I would control the situation. Okay. She did. And I promised her that I would not let anything happen to her. And I did not. But what you didn't see in the show was how it went. So that whole experiment lasted for about an hour. Brandy is wearing the blindfold, so she does not know what's going on. Brandy would say, the men in black are coming over to this side. So I would go over there and I would take holy water and spray it against that wall. And then at that moment, she'd be like, okay, they moved. Now they're over here. So I would go over there and I would hit holy water. So Brandy was verifying everything that I was doing when I was doing it when she was completely blindfolded. That is why one moment you see where there's not the crucifix on her coffin.
Yeah.
And then the next shot it's there. Okay. That's because she felt that they were right there by her head. So I took the crucifix and I set it right there by her head. And that's whenever they left. And that's when the females came. I don't know if they talk about it in the episode or not, that there was females that actually came up to the coffin, and it was the Lawson family, the young girls. They come to check in on her. So, Brandy was never forced anything. Did me and Brandy get in a couple of spats? Yes, whenever I ended up getting oppressed, because the entity felt the best way to deal with me was to make me want to sleep 24 hours a day. If I'm sleeping, I can't do anything, right?
Right.
So that's what it done. And I wanted to sleep all the time. And that made her very frustrated. Okay. She didn't know at the time that I was being oppressed. All right. She did not realize it at that time. I don't know exactly whenever it became clear to Brandy that I was being oppressed. I would think that it happened when she really truly understood what was going on was whenever she had the meeting with the historian, I think. I could be wrong. Brandy I can't speak for her on that. But, to me, that's when it became really clear to me. that I was being oppressed. I was in denial. One thing I can remember, Brandy was telling me about something, and I was standing by the bathroom, and I'd done the devil horns things, and that's something I would never do. Sure enough, I mean, there it is, black and white. I'm like, yeah, rock and roll,
Right.
So I can only imagine what was going through her. And Brandy was, at that point in time, Brandy was terrified, and I don't blame her. I mean, her abilities is what really made her terrified. And there was a whole aspect of the Men in Black that didn't make it on television there. But not only was there the entity, but there was this whole group of Men in Black that she kept picking up on, and so we were in a pickle. Pardon, no pun intended, but we were in a pickle.
Well, let me ask you this, especially for some viewers that don't know. There's different levels before you get to all out possession.
Right.
Can you explain to the viewers like what's different?
So the first stage is called infestation, which means you have invited an entity into your home by your own free will. Now, what happens during an infestation is a lot like a haunting, but remember, demons do not want to haunt locations. That's not what they do. They want to haunt or inhabit people. Earthbound spirits haunt locations, okay? So the difference between earthbound haunting and an infestation is the haunting is going to get really aggressive really fast, because the entity is trying to strike fear in the household so that it can seek who it wants to oppress. And usually it's going to be the person with the weakest will at that point. So then the second stage is called oppression. All right, so now the entity has attached itself to an individual. That person leaves the house is quiet. That person comes back, the house is active. Now, during the stage of oppression, what the entity is trying to do is break that person down spiritually, mentally, physically, completely isolate that person and break that person's will so that the person will give in and give the entity permission for possession to occur. Now, again, you have to give a demon permission for possession to happen. Now, you're going to say, well, who in the hell would do that, right? Look, they're very clever. Okay, they're going to use what you love against you. In Joy Stinson's case, this is how it went. It used her children against her until she said, do whatever you want to do to me, but leave my children alone. Guess what? You just gave it permission for possession to begin. So that's the 3 stages: infestation, oppression, possession.
This is an amazing interview, Jeremy. Thank you so
thank you,
much.
Sir. Thank you for the kind word.
I have lost my timer, so I don't know how much longer we have.
We got 25 more minutes. Let's keep this train rolling.
I'm good with it. So Katie, Kathy asks, Jeremy, what is your bracelets made out of? And let's just segue that into, let's talk about your jewelry and where we can find it.
Well, so the name of my company is called Cajun Hut Jewelry. I used to sell jewelry online. However, since my heart attack, I stopped doing that for 2 reasons: because I had to get back healthy first, and 2, the price of shipping is outrageous nowadays, right? Now, I don't want people to have to pay $30, $35 for a bracelet whenever it's going to cost me about $8 for shipping. But it's made out of all kinds of stuff. We got a bead store in the town that I live in. And I mean, I use all kinds of stuff. I use lava rocks. I use agate, granite, you name it, I use it. But I specialize in making protection bracelets, like St. Michael bracelets, St. Benedict bracelets, things like that. So yeah, it's not really down to one specific type of jewelry or rock or whatever I use. I use a bunch of different stuff. And I try to get a lot of creative. A lot of stuff I make, I call them one of a kind. I'll do something different to each one to make it stand out. But I do sell them at all my conventions, okay? I also make paracord rosaries. I also make regular 5-decade rosaries. I also sell regular jewelry as well that I sell through my jewelry store, like gold crucifix chains, challenge coins, protection challenge coins. I sell all of that stuff. And if you come to the event, you'll get to see some of that because I'll have all that with me.
Also, a reminder to the viewers: #book.
Yes, I see a lot of people on here. Y'all hashtag it, man. Get that opportunity to get this book.
I will be giving away at the end a signed copy of Jeremy Leonard's book, which I will pull out here. The Dwelling, a Dark Entity. So
You see that picture? You see the
hashtag
picture
book.
on that? That picture on that, by the
Yes.
way, that is a real picture that I captured at a cemetery. You see the it's even got horns. That is a legit picture.
Wow. See, that's creepy. I just thought it was a really cool cover picture, but now to know that it's real,
Mm.
dude.
That is a
that's
real
crazy.
picture.
So here's just a question that popped in my head. Do you think any of your roots being from Louisiana and all of the spirituality and stuff that happens around there, do you think that has influenced your style or your path in life?
Yeah, I definitely think that it plays a role because, look, where I come from, I have to know hoodoo. I have to know the backstory and the history of voodoo, all of these things because, especially in the New Orleans area, I mean, it's like there's so many different types of people with different belief systems all in one small area to where you have the occultists, you have the Wiccas, you have, you name it, they have it down there, So yeah, I do think that living in this area, living with the superstition, especially just being Cajun in general. Cajun people are very superstitious people. Look, down here, it's very common to go eat at a restaurant, and all of a sudden you'll see, especially an elder man, get a pinch of salt, throw it over his shoulders. It's for good luck. All of those things. So, I mean, yeah, growing up being very superstitious, knowing about all the folklores and legends and all the things that go along with it, sitting by the campfire hearing all the stories that my grandparents used to talk about and all that stuff growing up. Yeah, I would say it definitely played a role in that. It's just kind of like the name the Cajun demonologist. Let me tell you all a little backstory about that. So I was given that name by my good friend Bill Freeman, which is he's a peer of mine that I've actually worked with doing spiritual warfare. And Father Joseph Padre, he always called me the Cajun boy, because he's from Philadelphia and I'm from Cajun. Of course, they think everybody down here is Cajun swamp people, which even though the swamp's only about 5 miles from my house. So he called me Cajun boy. Well, Bill Freeman started calling me the Cajun demonologist. Look, Brandon, I hated that name for the longest time. It was corky. I hated it. But over the years, it just kind of grew and it become part of who I am. So I embrace it now.
I mean, and you embody it. I mean,
absolutely, I embraced it. It is part of who and what I am. So,
now I've heard a little birdie, but I don't know if it's true or not. But if there was an opportunity for a season 2 of 28 Days Haunted, would you be willing to go back and try it again?
Well, if you would have asked me this question even probably six months ago, I'd have probably told you no. But still, it all depends now. If they put me in a location like they had the other 2 teams where they had the luxury and they actually had a stove to cook their food and a nice bedroom and hot shower and all of that, yes, maybe. But, somehow I think that the producer thought, well, Jeremy's a demonologist. Let's just stick him in the worst place possible, which is what they did. If they put me in another place like I was on this show, probably not. But here's the kicker. I wouldn't know until I actually got there. Look, people, we did not know where we were going. Look, they sent me and Brandy plane tickets. We went to a hotel room. That's where I met Brandy for the first time. We had no idea where we were going. They drove up to the hotel. They put blindfolds on us, and we drove for about an hour or so. And we get out of the car. We're still blindfolded. They pull the blindfolds off, and I'm like, "Are you crapping me?
Right?
This ain't real." And I even looked at the guy to ask him if they just joking in it, but he was gone. He was gone. So, yeah, that's the thing. You never know. I don't know. I think maybe I would have to have it in my contract that, look, I suffered the first time. Just let me be an investigator on season 2. But we'll see. We'll see.
What you'd have to do is you'd have to have all our buddy old Aaron capital G Thompson with you because you know they're gonna
Aaron,
put
triple A, double G, capital Aaron. Okay,
that's right. That fella,
man.
yeah. So we'd have to have him because you know he's gonna be in luxury.
Oh yeah, well yeah, and also he's gonna do push-ups and sit-ups in his boxers.
In his
It's gonna be
box.
awesome, bro. It's gonna be
I'm gonna
awesome.
have him. I'm gonna have him do that at the Paracon. See, he's staying with me for a week too. So
oh well, yeah.
they're,
Well,
they're,
you definitely.
yeah.
I'm gonna rag him about it the second I see him. I haven't seen him since right before the show aired. He wasn't in Los Angeles, so the only time I've never met Brandon in person. I don't think. No, I haven't. I've never met Brandon in person.
You mean Aaron?
Yeah, Aaron. I'm sorry.
You've never met me in person either. So
yeah, I've never met you in person.
You're still
either.
speaking the truth, is what you're doing.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I get it. It's those long hours that you're doing, man.
Yeah. And I'm actually really happy that at least we're able to we got about 20 minutes left and no calls. So, hey, I'm happy.
Don't say nothing. You know. But yeah. So far so good. I think Kimberly had another question or a comment. I saw a starred comment, Dave, if you can pull that up. If you can find it. Kimberly says, can't wait to talk to you at your booth, Jeremy. I just came from an investigation we were called down to in New Orleans at Marie Laveau's location.
Okay, Brandon, I got to stop you. I got to stop you right there. You said New Orleans. No, it is not New Orleans. It's Nolans. Nolans. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. We got that out the way. I'm good.
Okay. I should have just let that South Carolina accent just kick in with it, and I'd have been okay. But you know,
dude, that's like that Detroit accent Brandy's got over there. So, and where I come from, we call soda pop. It's a Gatorade. It's a Coke. It's a Dr. Pepper. It's a Pepsi. To her, it's pop. It's pop.
Right.
Pop. Okay.
Here, it's like here in South Carolina, everything's a Coke. I don't care what it is. It's a Coke. Jeremy corrected me with it too, Brandon. Yep.
Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, Brandon come up with that New Orleans stuff. What? New Orleans? Come on now.
Now, come on. That's Nolans.
I mean, you can even call it New Orleans. Just don't say New Orleans. No.
No, that's improper.
That's not the lingo we use down here.
No. Oh, I just lost my train of thought. I'm having so much fun. Hey, if anybody's got any questions, throw it up there. Also, I saw a bunch of people hit that hashtag book.
Yes, where's the hashtag? Awesome. Let me stroll through this. So I'm going to tell you guys. So the book, it's not easy to find. I don't sell them at the conventions and stuff whenever I go. The only way you can get it is online. I don't really even promote the book, to be honest with you. But if you want to know who I am and where I come from and why I am who I am today, that's the book to read because it will tell you.
And I luckily I still remember where I got my copy from, and I think they had a couple of other copies. So, and see, it's gonna be great when you win it. I do all the legwork for you. I find it.
Right. He found
I'm not gonna send you my copy because mine's all folded and it's been read like 3-4 times. We gotta have a good, pristine copy. Let's see, Brandy. Jeremy, what did you take away from the show from working with Brandy from Brandy?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I learned. So usually demonologists and psychics don't work well together. Okay. And what I learned was if we put our egos aside and work together as a team and not think that we know everything, all right, you can come out victorious. And I think that is the main thing that I learned with Brandy is that, just because we come from different places in the paranormal field, so to speak, doesn't mean that we can't work together to accomplish a goal. And, You know, Brandy, you know what, really and truly, Brandy taught me a lot of things. Brandy taught me, you know, her beliefs. And we would talk about, you know, my beliefs and how I approach things versus how her beliefs and how she approached things. And I will tell you this, even though we started out maybe at different points, we still met in the middle. In other words, our goals were the same. We just had different ways of going about it. So, you know, that was something very important that I learned from Brandy. And that's very humbling also, to be able to put ego aside, and, you know, not on just my part, but on her part too, as well. You know, and Brandy, I'll tell you, in the beginning, that was one of the things that I think Brandy was really concerned about was, you know, working with a demonologist, because look, some demonologists are very, very arrogant people. Okay. And that's just being honest. You know, I'm very honest. All right. And I can understand where she was coming from. And from my standpoint, you know, psychic mediums, oh, well, they can see this that you can't, or whatever. You know, is she going to try to belittle me? You know, is she going to? So I had those concerns too. But I will tell you, absolutely none of that happened. Me and Brandy come together, and we generally cared about each other, just like we do today. And I learned a lot from Brandy. I've learned to see things from a different point of view, as well as I think that she learned to see things from a different point of view. And, you know, I see Brandy's made a post earlier. I wasn't going to say nothing about it, but I helped her strengthen her faith. Okay. But Brandy helped me strengthen mine too, in a way that, you know, even though we come from different places, when you put the ego aside and you talk soul to soul, she brought back my faith in other people. You know, being able to work with other people from a different point of view. So I think we both really come away with something. I miss Brandy every day. I do.
Ah, see, there it is.
All the time.
So I guess now would be a good time to tell you we will have that helmet at the Paracon.
Oh, good Lord. Really?
I'm just throwing that out there. Oh, would you be willing to put it on again?
I don't know. I don't know. That's something I'm really going to have to ponder on, because of the simple fact that I'm just now getting my health back.
Yep.
I don't
No
know.
pressure. I mean, if
No,
you do, you do. You don't. You
we'll
don't.
discuss it. We'll just see what comes. You know,
Yep.
The day comes. How I feel. I've always learned to kind of go with my gut.
Yeah, and I definitely don't blame you, but we will be bringing the original helmet, and hopefully I'm actually having a helmet built specifically for me, so hopefully that will be actually working by then. But so
I want to
you
answer.
read?
Yeah, I want to answer that question right there. Have you ever ran into an angel during an exorcism? Absolutely, 100%. Michael, I work with Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Gabriel, Michael, I work with all of them. Look, so in my ritual, I call upon the archangels to protect me. All right. And if you've ever been in the presence of an angel, you know that power is absolutely mind blowing. Look, oh my God, I just can't even describe to you. The energy is so distinct, so powerful. But whenever I do an exorcism, you can ask Brandy, like, during there, I would call upon the archangels to shield us and protect us against the wickedness and the snares of the devil. Okay. So what I do, again, visualization is very powerful. I visualize them coming down, pulling their sword and putting it on my shoulder as if to knight me. Okay. That means they are giving me the authority from the Father. They are the one that's transferring the authority to the Father from me. Okay. And if you've ever been in the presence of an angel, they're about 8 or 9 foot tall. They're a lot bigger than we are. Okay. And they're very powerful. Yes, I have. And you know what? If you ever see, I have a shrine in my office, and St. Michael, I have a lot of St. Michael stuff in my office. He is my protector. I truly believe that he is my warrior angel that comes to my aid when it's needed.
Have you ever had to exercise an angel?
No, I've never had to exercise an angel. I've had to exercise fallen angels. Fallen angels, yes.
Well, there you go. Oh, That is actually kind of a good question. I'd have never thought about that one. But
Yeah, no, I can say honestly, I've never had to exercise an angel. I mean, if you want to use, the roots of what demons actually are, they're fallen angels. So I mean,
oh, and that leads to a question: can angels possess? I guess possess would be the wrong word, but can an angel take over?
so if you go by the Bible, yes, they can. All right. So yes, I do believe that they can, but I don't think so. Here's the difference between the angels and the demons. The angels are not going to. They're not going to possess someone as in the way that a demon would. Okay. Even though you have you. So we have free will. Okay. So an angel is always going to find another way to assist someone, I guess you can say. But at the same time, if you want to look at this, if you really look at this the right way, then I guess so. There's what you call jumping, okay? So which means that a demon could temporarily inhabit a person. It doesn't have a legal right, but it can for a very short period of time. Okay. So during an exorcism, if you call upon an angel for guidance, can the angel jump in you per se to be a jumper to give more power and authority and more strength, I guess, or the Holy Spirit, I guess is the word to use,
Right.
to tell you what to say, to give, or in other words, speak through you, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I think that they can. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm inclined
That's
to.
the thing about demonology and all of this. Sometimes it gets so complex and it's so hard to understand. And I try my best to simplify it so that people can understand what I'm saying and where I'm going with it.
Right. And I think Tabitha here, she was thinking along the same lines as me. Superhuman strength, moving cars off track people, etc. I think
Yeah. So
that's
So let me tell y'all a story. My brother-in-law. Now he did not so my brother-in-law got in a really, really bad accident, and he rolled a car, and it rolled 3 times, and it rolled off into a river in the middle of the night in the middle of nowhere. He was drowning in the car, and supposedly a homeless person happened to be sleeping under the bridge that night, was able to get him out of the vehicle and pulled him onto the shoulder of the road and flagged down a passing car. Now, what happened was mysteriously that homeless person disappeared. They never could find him. The cops tried to find him to get his statement. He was nowhere around. Nobody could find him. And the only person that even knew what the man looked like was the people that he flagged down. And after that, it's just like he just disappeared. He pulled him out. Now, was this a true homeless person? And his guardian angel took possession of that person in order to do a deed because it was not his time. Let me explain something to you. A lot of people always say, well, if God is so loving, then why did he allow the accident to happen? Because we have free will. God didn't tell you to get in the car. You done that by your own free will, and God will not interfere with your own free will. Okay. But if it wasn't your time, guess what? He's probably going to try and do whatever he can, to save you or whatever, however it's going to occur because it's not your time, right? Just like a lot of people that have near-death experiences, it's not their time, right? There's a time and a place. All of us have our numbers, and when our number's called, that's when it's time for us to go. So, yeah, I mean, if you look at it that way, yeah, absolutely, I do believe in it. Like, especially like you read all these stories. Of like a car rolled over on a person and a woman has the strength to lift the car up so they can get out from under them. I mean, yeah, man, that's superhuman strength. That's got to come from something else,
right.
and yeah, absolutely.
And my 5 foot nothing grandma lifted a car off my grandfather
Yeah.
Before. And, I wasn't around to see it, but it's a story that's been told by so many people, that were there. That
Yeah.
there's only one explanation. I think you know what, this has been an amazing interview. Oh, you're just a good dude all around, Jeremy, and
Well, thank you.
I
I appreciate
thank
it.
you so much for taking the time out. I think what we're gonna do real quick, is we're gonna roll this. Okay, hey, 1 minute left. 1 minute left. If you have not entered hashtag book in the little comment section there, hashtag book, so you can get a autographed copy of Jeremy Leonard's book. Super hard to find. Great book. Like he said, if you want to get to know, some of the beginning origins and how what got him started, it's a great place to start. Okay. So while we're waiting on this to time down, let's talk about your classes that you have online.
Yes, I teach an online Demonology 101, and I also teach an advanced course of spiritual warfare. Now, it's 100% online. Everything is through videos and stuff like that. The Demonology 101 consists of 4 weeks, which means you have access to the site and you have 4 weeks of material. You can take it at your own pace. There's no set time. You have access to it for 4 weeks. And if you take the advanced course, it's also 4 weeks. And the only way you can take the advanced course is if you take the Demonology first. And it's also 4 weeks. So if you take both courses, you have 8 weeks of access to the site, 8 weeks of material as well. And if you take the Demonology 101 course, it's only $50. Look, all the proceeds I get for this goes to my ministry, the Cajun ministry, which allows me to be able to afford gas money, hotels, and so on whenever I get called to different cases and stuff like that. If you take both courses, it's only $100 as well. So now, if you think after taking the Demonology 101 course, you're going to be able to go out and perform exorcisms on people, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. That's not what it's designed for. Knowledge is power, but it is designed to give you the very basic, solid foundation in which to build your own knowledge off of.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to taking this class. So hopefully here pretty soon. After everything calms down with the Paracon, I'm going to be signing up for that class.
I mean, people can sign up anytime they want. Just message me on Messenger and tell me you're interested, and I'll send you how to pay through. What do I use? I use let's see, what do I use here? I use Cash App. Just send me the message. I'll send you the link to it, and normally within 24 hours you have full access to the site.
Godfather, go ahead and roll that drawing. This is it, folks. Who's going to win this book? I need some music for this.
Bob.
Barb.
Barb. Hey, that reminds me of that show. What is that show? Barb. She was on season 1, Stranger Things.
Ah, yes. That's such a good show.
That
Barb,
is, I absolutely love it.
I do too. I wish they'd come out with just one more.
Well, congratulations, Barb. I hope you enjoy the book, and I will make sure that I sign it for you. And I'll send you a little message.
So, Barb, I just need you to reach out to Skydoor Entertainment, or you can email me directly, shamansundays@gmail.com. As always, Jeremy, I'd like to thank you once again for taking the time out. I know you're
Absolutely.
a busy man, but I have had a blast.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Especially picking on old Brandy.
Oh, Brandy. Look, I had a thing when we were filming, and it used to drive her nuts. I would say, Brandy. You see how I do that with the mouth? Brandy.
I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes.
Oh, yeah. You want to get under Brandy's skin? That's what you do. You say, Brandy.
That's going to happen. And as always, Carol helps me remember to smile. And Jeremy, there's a saying that I always say that when I close out my...
Me too. I have one on my podcast. So you say yours and I'll say mine.
I like it. So what I always say is, it's not about surviving the storm, but it's how you dance in the rain.
Love it.
And
mine goes like this. Laissez le bon temps rouler.
Woo, let the good times roll.
Let the good times roll, baby.
I like it. thank you again so much. I can't wait to pick you up from the airport here shortly. Once again, Jeremy Leonard will be at the Haunting at the Mill Paracon March 24th through the 26th. He'll have his booth with his cool bracelets and challenge coins, which I'm going to have to get a challenge coin. And so what we're going to have to do, you're going to have to come out. You're going to have to meet Jeremy in person, and we're all going to team up against Brandy Marie.
Brandy. We're going to have the anti-Brandy squad.
It's going to happen.
I'm the president and the CEO, but I still need some managers, okay?
See, and that's how that works. So I love each and every one of you. You know, the most important person is the viewer, because hosts really don't matter without a viewer. And I still can't believe that my daughter is still watching. Look at there. Jeremy, you created a miracle.
Hey, I created a new path, okay? Look, we come to the end of the road. We can either go right or we can go left. Left is always the right way. Let's go.
I like that. That's some of that Papa Legba stuff talking about crossroads. Look out now. So please join me next Sunday who my guest will be. I have no idea because I lost my phone, got stolen in South Dakota. So I think it'll be a good one though. One last time, Jeremy, where can everybody find you?
So everything on every social media platform is Jeremy Leonard, the Cajun Demonologist. So that goes for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You go to my personal page. I have over 5,000 people on there as friends, and I have almost 6,000 people that follow me. So if you want to keep up with the paranormal stuff, always go to Jeremy Leonard, the Cajun Demonologist, because my personal page, I really don't post a whole lot of paranormal stuff. But hey, you can like and follow both.
I think you should do both. And Barb, we're going to get that book out to you. It would be probably in April, so I can get it signed. And Godfather, take us out.